That brings us to our discussion agenda, and we have a presentation on energy conservation by Dr. Larry Price. And is someone going to introduce Mr. Richardson? Mr. Richardson, would you introduce Dr. Price, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As you're aware, I guess 2 years ago during the budget process, we decided that we would change some set points in our HVAC systems across the district, which has resulted in some pretty significant energy savings across the district. But we need a little bit more help, I think, trying to realize some serious savings. So we've asked Dr. Larry Price, he's the regional president for Synergistic. They're an energy conservation company. He's going to provide you some information on how they can help us through this process.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Larry Price. I'm from Wilson, North Carolina, and sat here tonight enjoying the meeting. I was a superintendent for 13 years. I've been to a lot of school board meetings. I think the number is just a few over 700 in my career, so I've seen a lot and heard a lot in board meetings and similar conversations that you're having, and so my heart goes out to the work that you do, because it's sometimes difficult to be in the places that you're in when you're trying to deal with things that you can't talk about as openly as perhaps you would like to. For a couple of years, I was the state executive of the North Carolina Association of School Administrators after I retired from being a superintendent, and in that couple of years, I got introduced to this company of Synergistic. They were one of our corporate partners, and our company is also a corporate partner with the SCASA group, which is the South Carolina Association of School Administrators. And so 4 years ago, I became a representative for them and been working between New Jersey and Florida and traveling all over the place, talking to school districts and community colleges and universities, city and county governments, hospitals, medical facilities, even mega churches about how to save money on energy. And there's always money that can be saved. I don't want to spend just about 7 or 8 minutes or so going through just a handful of slides and talk to you a little bit about what we've been talking to members of your staff about. So we're a 31-year-old company that was started by a gentleman named Bill Spears. He was a school board member in Wichita Falls, Texas, back in the early 80s when they started air conditioning school buildings, and they decided they needed to find a way of conserving so they could afford the additional cost of air conditioning. During this time, we have saved our clients about $4.6 billion in energy, 1,400 clients across 48 states. We cut energy costs in our client organizations by an average of 26%. We've had some very successful programs that got well up into the 40s, one of those here in South Carolina, in Lawrence County, but on average 26%. We're in over 22,000 buildings, so there's not much we haven't seen, from the very nice facilities such as the one we're in to ones that are very old and have a lot of needs. We manage about $1 billion in annual utility expenses for our clients across the country. We focus on conservation, which is the base of the pyramid. You've begun to do that. I've had great meetings with some of your staff and those that are working on this for your benefit. And what we bring is a very sophisticated process of addressing the behaviors that people have and that equipment has relative to how energy is used. We don't sell equipment, so we aren't here to try to create a sales opportunity. We're simply here that we provide services on the ground and with consultants coming to work with your staff to address issues of conservation and to address making the equipment that you currently have as efficient as it can be. We do not sell equipment nor make any efforts to try to get you to put any in new equipment. But those pieces of conservation efficiency are where we spend our time. So basically our model is this 5-circle model, and in the center of that, we start with energy specialists. And should we be able to work with you and your school district, we would put 2 synergistic employees embedded in your organization that would be full-time employees of ours, working with your staff and addressing issues. These energy specialists do building audits by a very specialized process that we use, and we look for a lot of things. They do 20 to 25 building audits a week. So we're looking at buildings, some during the day, but a lot during the nighttime hours and early mornings and weekends and holidays and so forth as we work with an active management program. And again, your two folks that are designated to do this are doing some really good work, but both would look forward to the opportunity that we bring with two people who would be full-time people here in your school district. We work with a couple of things. At the top is organizational behavior science, and that is looking at the way that people use energy and helping them to understand how we can change organizations in some ways that get the most energy savings when energy doesn't have to be being used. That's the real key. This is not about turning your air conditioner up to 80 and so we'll just suffer through it. It's about comfort when people are in buildings and then about conserving when they're not. And so we change some of the organizational notions of how energy is managed and then how equipment is used. At the bottom is the optimization of your current infrastructure. We make sure by bringing in our engineers and consultants that every piece of your equipment is running at its peak efficiency all the time. The average client gets about 10 technical visits a month from our consultant staff that travels around the country. On the right side there is the proprietary technology. We have a number of patented tools that our engineers and others have put together that helps us identify savings opportunities for our school, for our clients. And we utilize that technology to help in building planning and building evaluation and measurement of energy saved. And then the circle on the left is the Energy Cap software. It is a third-party software that is the measurement and verification software. That's the key piece of savings and how they're measured, because we could say lots of things. I mean, we had a day in North Carolina last week when the high temperature was 59 degrees. It certainly took less energy to cool a building that day than it did today when it was 92. And so the software accounts for weatherization, normalization as well. And so we have this very active model that helps us as we help our clients get to that 26% savings. For the 15-16 school year, you spent about $5.2 million for electricity, gas, water, and sewer here in your county. You have about 3.5 million square feet, and so that comes out to about $1.50 per square foot. We use that data along with a lot of other information that we get. I spent time with your technical staff and got a lot more information, and we analyzed all that to determine what we believe was a reasonable projection of the savings. And realistically, what we project is we have a 5-year program. The first 6 months of our program, there are no fees. We start saving money for you right away, and we don't start sharing in those savings until the beginning of the 7th month. We estimate that the first year and what we call this quick start period will yield about $530,000 in net savings in that case, and then $3.1 million in net savings over the 5-year period. So again, with a quick start, there's no fees at all during the first 6 months. The savings are guaranteed to exceed your investment, and it's easy with a shared savings model. The payments for the savings come from your energy budget, so there's not a new budgeted item. There's not new money to have to allocate. This comes from reduction in your energy cost. And the other benefits are that you get enhanced comfort for staff, faculty, and students. We really do find lots of things that cause buildings to be uncomfortable, and some of the times it's systems that work against each other and so forth, and we bring in the technical staff, engineers and others to help work with your maintenance staff to address those things. What we end up doing is creating a culture of conservation that transforms the way people behave and ultimately machines as well, and an optimized infrastructure. I couldn't help but have a moment of pride when the gentleman mentioned that he had moved from Loudoun County, Virginia, which is a very fast-growing school district in the country, and they've been our client since 1993. And we've saved them over $75 million during that explosive growth time that they've had. And they keep our program going, and it has done a fantastic job for them. And so I couldn't help but mention Loudoun as it was mentioned earlier. So on average, over the 5-year period, it's about $627,000 in net savings. Your cost for the program, let me say it differently. Your net savings are your net savings. That's all net to you. We, out of our share, pay for the program. So a $627,000 average annual net savings is what we anticipate with this program for you here in this school district. We've got lots of clients from Charleston here in South Carolina is one of the larger ones, University of Kentucky, Fairfax, Prince William County, Virginia, Loudoun County, Virginia, to Ohio State. I mean, this is a little, just one page of a few. Here in South Carolina, this is just a sampling. We've had clients here since the late 1990s as well, and so we've had from $1 million to $18 million saved here in South Carolina as well. So the benefits go beyond savings. Some of it is it's comfort. Again, we're big comfort freaks. We want everybody to be comfortable, even though there are standards that say not everybody can be in the same temperature. We all have different needs for heating and air conditioning and cooling and so forth, but still we want everybody to be comfortable to the extent possible, and it's a top priority for us. What we are not is a discomfort company. That would not work and would not have allowed us to be in business for 31 years. The capital that's put in, when you do put in new equipment, it runs less and it lasts longer. And so some of the equipment that you have now will certainly benefit from the engineering expertise that we bring to help make sure everything's running well. We add expertise and training to your staff. Had a good conversation with your facilities director just a few days ago, and he certainly sees the benefit of what we can bring to his staff as well. And then the reputational one about demonstrating good stewardship to your community is important. Everything you can do to stretch taxpayer dollars, as mentioned tonight, is important as well. And the environment, it's important to do all we can to try to make our environment a better place as well. And so when you reduce the energy consumed, then the other side of that is that we have reduced emissions and the energy requirements of energy companies, and so we do good things for our environment. So in 31 years, we've used our expertise, our technology, and the analytics that we do, working through our location-based energy specialists to yield some change habits, behaviors, and create new culture. And with that, we have reduced the energy consumption. Typically, most of our clients between 20 and 30%. The average is 26. And if you're a statistics guru, the median's 25. So it's a tightly packed percentage savings that we bring to our clients. So again, just to recap, no capital outlay. It's budget neutral. With a quick start period, you start saving right away. There'll be money that's coming to you in the early months of our program. We have improved comfort. We support your facilities maintenance and operations staff with training and working with them. And the bottom line is, if we don't save you money, we don't get paid. So it's an incentive for us, and it's a safeguard for you. It's a risk-free environment that allows you to, again, take money that you're now sending to utility companies and keep some of it and do something else with it that will help address and support many of the things that you're doing here in your school district. So that's the last slide. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question about who determines comfort and what is comfortable. Right here, I'm not very comfortable in this building, have not been since I walked in.
So there are a set of standards called ASHRAE standards, and even the standard says that 80% of people will be comfortable in air conditioning between 74 and 78. And so at my house, it's set on 77, and I'm a little cool in here too. But there's probably some people in here that wish it were a little cooler. And so you never get it 100% where everybody's in agreement, but you're looking for those ideal kinds of times. And sometimes it's not so much what the temperature is, but the humidity adds to that or has some effect on that as well. So we work to try to hit those happy medium points, because that's not one which you could find unanimous consent on. But we do find through our surveying and working with our clients that they say, yeah, it's a lot more comfortable. More people say it's more comfortable.
Thank you.
Ms. Hammond.
I had two questions. You were saying that the deduction in the energy cost is really, it's really not a new budget item, if I understood that right. That through the savings, that's how we pay for it.
That's
correct. Is
correct.
that, and that's a guarantee? I mean, always?
So yes, the savings that we get is what pays for the program.
Right. So it doesn't vary, I mean, you know exactly what your cost is gonna be based on, I guess the size of a school district and all, I was just thinking how, that sounds great, but I was just wondering how the logistics.
Yeah, it's, again, the
vary.
savings are measured through a very sophisticated software program that's not our software. It's a program called Energy Cap. It's the gold standard measurement and verification software. And it takes every dollar that's saved and calculates that, and someone in the district signs off to say they agree that those are the savings that we got, and then we get a share of those savings.
And then my other one, if it's okay, Ms. Gann, I'll just do my two at a time. Is it the equipment that saves you so much? Is it you're using, because I was thinking, and help me if I'm wrong, didn't we put in an energy saving plan? I don't know what it was, Mr. Richardson. I was thinking that we had some new device in the last 2.5 years that we were using to save energy. And I thought you reported it did. I was just wondering how what we are currently use to save energy, was it anything like this program?
No, ma'am. This was just a matter of our raising or lowering our set
You
points.
just did
terms-
this on your, I got
That's
you.
correct.
It wasn't any new equipment
No.
like they're doing. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Baumgartner.
Is Johnson Controls a competitor of yours, or they do things different?
Johnson Controls, implicit in their name is that they are a controls company, and so they help with the set point scheduling and those kinds of things. We actively manage control systems, so we don't compete against each other. We don't go we're not after the same money. They're selling control systems, and we manage them and use them for the best benefit of our clients.
Now, would you also be available or help? We're fixing to add a wing to one of our middle schools. In the pre-planning, making sure that when we get the building up, getting it more energy efficient or at its
Wonderful question and a great lead to it. I mentioned our proprietary technology, and we have a tool that we use called an advanced simulation program. And so if you started talking about adding a wing or adding new equipment or whatever, we build a computer model of that building. We simulate how it's going to operate and what's going to work. And we give the architects and engineers energy savings advice about how to manage the equipment in that building so that our clients are getting the best service from that as well. So we become your best and trusted advisor around all things energy. You start doing something that's going to use energy, we're going to be a part of that conversation and advising you as a school district and your staff on how to get the best and most useful service from those extra opportunities.
I know you said this, there's no capital outlay, new equipment, or unless a replacement came about or something like that, maybe you all would be an advisory role on that? Or?
Yeah, in the natural process, you're going to replace some equipment while we're working with you. And we adjust the savings so that when you put in a new piece of equipment, you get all those savings. We don't get any of it because we didn't do that. But we advise and help people, our clients, with how's the best way of doing this, because sometimes equipment that we're replacing might have been calculated in a time 35 years ago, when the technology is not there to do the things that we have today to make sure we got the right sizing and those things. So we help you make better decisions around replacing equipment, new wings, new buildings, whatever it is that you do.
And I know Mr. Richardson probably knows this. You mentioned Lawrence, one of the Lawrence school districts, and then Charleston. Is that the Charleston School District?
Yes.
Any other South Carolina schools that district? I might have missed it.
Yeah, I'll just back up real quickly. There's just there's a good list. Of districts. Lawrence, Cherokee has done fabulous work. I've visited with almost all of these. I think I've visited with them here in South Carolina. But some of those go back a number of years, and some are more recent clients. But those are the dollars they saved in our program.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Mr. Cates?
Since you benefit from the savings, that's how you're compensated. At the end of the day, are there any, probably is a more appropriate way to phrase it, is there any control or decision-making that's taken out of the hands of the district?
Absolutely not. We fully understand that that we're guests in your district, and so we work for you. And when we run into snags, and we do, then we talk about it and figure out how's the best way of either doing that or taking that recommendation off the table, and your staff is in control of saying, no, we're not comfortable doing that. So we don't come in and take control, and we work at the direction and really in collaboration with your staff. That's what we've done for all of these years. That's the best model for work is that exact model.
Any other questions? Dr. Price, thank you very much for presenting this to us, and I know we'll be talking to Mr. Richardson about possibilities there.
Very good. Thanks for the opportunity.
That brings us to item number 17, which is our adjournment for the night. Do I have a motion? Ms. Hammond.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Ms. Bumgardner seconds, and we will stand adjourned until June 26th. That everybody's in favor of adjourning, raise your hand. How about you, Ms. Bumgardner? Okay, we're unanimous.